Итак, всем привет, мы продолжаем играть в диско Elysium. Так, ну продолжаем осматривать его
You see rows of
магазин.
toy soldiers guarding the
Бомбат.
rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding, big men on big horses clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down
Franco-Nigerian knights. I used to be very serious about these guys.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed.
Which ones? Ah, those. Yes, they are. I find the paint job a bit gaudy, but...
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols.
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. Maybe.
Maybe.
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding. Everything you pick out seems faded, chipped, and sad somehow.
Хочу.
You see rows of toy soldiers. Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man.
Oh, that's the Headless Phone Rider. The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend about a man who 50 cents, bargain priced. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it, or something. That part of the story has many interpretations.
Ну-ка.
The boomboxes on the shelf look well loved and well traveled. Chipped, dented. This one especially
Не думаю,
catches
что он
your
за
eye.
200
Deep
реаломов
gold
это
and
купит.
amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech, found sounds and music from a variety of genres. If police work means playing tapes, sure. You can use it for that. Is the Harman Welsh W2. Made in Vespa. Designed in Seoul. Plays all reel-to-reel formats. 2mm 8.
Понятно. Ну давай поговорим.
It's not often that I see officers from the RCM. What can I do for you?
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his projector, just watching the movement of light across the walls of the shop.
I haven't had any problems myself.
Who are your customers?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, as you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
Entertained? He might be high. If he is, on what? Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky
Перелидоне.
bastard. He's probably on parole. A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
Why on earth? There's a prescription. I can't really see without...
There's a note of indignation in his voice. Interesting.
Prolidon is just something I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade.
He's taking for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved.
The People's Pile was a Type U particle decay generator that failed immediately after entering service, releasing radioactive waste into River Esperance, a primitive nuclear reactor, also called a pile. Construction began during the Commune of Revachol. The people continued, needless to say, things didn't. An emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure blowing the turbine, taking the fuel containment vessel up in the explosion. Both the faulty design and lack of finances contribute.
We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized, tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
Tough son of a gun, this one.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud. Years getting sick. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened. So much disappointment. And early deaths. Cancer mostly. And we knew all no ones. If
So much bitterness.
a bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor. Hope the cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. So I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I like the theory more than the story.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same.
What? So the lieutenant shifts from one foot to another. Alert.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserved, and I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long.
He's not telling you the whole story. It seems he's trying.
You weren't quiet. You were very distraught. You said the gun was a threat to your life and that you can't. When I said that I don't normally buy firearms, you put the gun barrel in your...
You sucked on a gun? Good. Very normal.
$15 real.
The lieutenant looks from you to Roy, and then back to you. It's clear that he hopes there's pity there too, in case you didn't notice.
No apologies necessary, officer. She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a truth be told.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the citizens.
Miraculously, his face does not reveal what's happening inside.
You're right that she could cast aspersions on the force. We have to find out.
My apologies, officer.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it now. You'll just have to hope you luck upon her somehow.
Of course.
Так, секунду, сохранимся после этих
Hello,
диалогов. всё.
hello. Let me know if I can help you with it. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all men.
No one likes to see what you have to see every day.
The corpse behind the hostel, I assume. I'd ask around the harbour. There might
Ох,
be...
ты всё
The
равно идти.
pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing cup.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the
Yes, these are very, very good.
Все-таки
Did
200
you
реалов
defraud
даст.
some foreign prince for them? Jump a mess?
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course. I meant no offense.
Thank you. Here's the 130.
Он мне только 130 отдал.
Do not waste.
Ладно, это понятно. Ладно.
The windfall is a small.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Anything else you're thinking of selling?
Ручка. Платок. Ядро. Просто грешно. Ну, это... Ладно, пока что мне продавать на самом деле не надо ничего, по идее. По идее не надо, да. Потом лучше.
Another time, perhaps.
Так, все, час ночи уже. Найдите свой пистолет.
Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with. Sure. Let me have a
Ну,
look.
вот это продавать не очень,
Oh,
конечно.
no. I don't like those kinds of objects. Aphotic paths, counter-radiance networks, anti-magnetism. I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. Anything else you're thinking of selling?
Это все, что он примет, да? Жаль, жаль. Я хотел продать ту бомжатскую одежду. Ну, хотя, может, если я во что-нибудь другое оденусь, он захочет это принять, я не знаю. А эта открытка мне зачем? Ладно, пока что не будем ничего продавать, если что, мы вернемся сюда.
Another time, perhaps.
Ну-ка, вот
Hello,
это вот.
hello. Have you tried it before?
The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on display. Looks like he doesn't want.
If you say so. Here you go, man.
Yes, darling. That's the coalition government ordained Parolidon. Straight into.
Of course.
Но принимать я его не собираюсь. Слушай, друг, не хочешь ты его
Sure.
обратно?
Let me have
Может, за
anything else
деньги?
you're
Блин,
thinking of?
он не примет его. Да?
Another time, perhaps.
Инструменты. Ладно, мне нахер не нужен этот твой перелидон. Я думал, я смогу его загнать ему. Так же. Просто обратно. Вот и все. Но нет. Но нет, так нет. Идемте расплатимся с этим мужиком. Так уж и быть. Надо же где-то спать. Сейчас в мусорке только еще порыщем немножко. Перчатки без пальцев. Опа. Новая одежда есть. Плюс одна электрохимия. Не знаю, зачем она мне. Но возьмем. Шлюзный ремонт до среды.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from them. This panel usually closes the water lock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed Samaran button. You pull the lever all the way up until the metal... Nothing happens. Nothing happens. A cold gust of wind A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to
Среду.
close the water lock. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will...
В среду утром починят. А сегодня понедельник. Окей. У меня есть еще 2 дня до починки с шлюза. Если что. Так, куда тут еще можно пойти-то? Давайте сохранимся на всякий случай вот так. То я боюсь, что он упадет, я не знаю, от чего-нибудь. От нехватки сна. Что за огромный грузовик какой-то. Больно. Это вся область? Ну ладно, пока что так. Я вернулся расплачиваться с тобой, мужик. А
Can I
эту
help you?
всякий хлам я не могу ему отдать, кстати,
Yes.
да?
Have you got it? Well,
На.
great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please... I'll unlock the electronic lock to your room. All the doors lock automatically at 9 p.m. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow.
I'll take a room here
20
too.
за ночь.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything? Another thing. Great. I love though. Yes?
Ура, мы смогли оплатить. Ага. Какой бы навык-то прокачать? Ну давайте грубую силу дальше. Могу еще что-нибудь повысить. Грубую силу? Или что-нибудь другое. Так, а для чего вообще это? Ну-ка напомните мне. Короче, эти перчатки не очень. Думаю, электрохимия это все-таки не особо такое хорошее что-то. Так, логику, может. Давайте логику повысим. А эти перчатки нахер снимем. Потому что, ну, что-то это не... Нет желания у меня все-таки это...
The door is closed. This door, as you hold the metal, you sit still. The lieutenant, he doesn't like it. You should punch a fucking hole in it. The murmur in your ears recede.
Мог бы закричать, конечно, на нее, да? Это его комната, да, как я понимаю, будет. Все, давай, я спать.
This is the door to the room you read.
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic.
Now then, we should talk about the investigation. But I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. Our role here, our rights, our jurisdiction, basically. Well, we inspected the victim's body, so that's good. I would say our initial inspection was very thorough. And we have then you shot him in the chest, which wasn't ideal. And
Да.
we still have to get him down.
Попортил
from the tree.
немножко.
Being sober also tends to help with precision. But moving on to we weren't able to find the union leader, Errat Claire, much less interview him. So that's on the to-do list. We didn't talk to the Wildlands rep. We really must. Above all,
Кстати, да.
today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot.
I have a really good theory about why
Качалочка.
you're running so fast, son. Just you wait until we get up tomorrow.
It's impressive, especially for a man your age. And in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. Goes with the orange.
Thank you for the compliment. We could manage it even in wooden clogs. There are uncanny running reservoirs in this body. God knows why.
They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Rebachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with the RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really, yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always, officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station closely. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. As you may have gathered from the fact that we are expected to carry a record of our kills, like the one in the watermarks, we are permitted to use whatever force is necessary, and strongly admonished not to abuse that power. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone, which is for the best. We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Courant and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. The coalition government and the RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. Silence. A great comment to such a conundrum. I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes.
Oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
You're cold, detective. Again, I only have exactly one every night. You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will and unhealthy. Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. The Moralists International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day for centuries. Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion.
Something kind and usual, something almost self-explanatory, something even a little feminine, but in a strict manner.
The historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for...
For you, she is something painful. Though
Что
it's hard to say
болезненная женой
why.
была, видимо, да? Бывший.
The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change.
It is more than that. There's some kind of affection in him.
Yes, I did, when I was younger. In my 20s, I considered myself a moralist.
That's another leitmotif as
But the years have changed that. I don't know what I believe in now. No, I believe in the RCM. That's enough. Do you?
Мужики, которые превращаются в баб. Я так особо и не понял, это какое-то ЛГБТ плюс сообщество? Ну тут сделали, да. Тут
We
нет
are in what is
гуманизма.
called the twilight of international law.
Тут какие-то
laws we claim
убийства
to
происходят.
enforce
Вон
come from
чела
the eye.
повешали.
Without them, we are simply vigilantes.
Не знаю, что за слово. Вигилантны. Вигилант. Что это значит вообще?
Spoken like a revolutionary, not a cop. But hypothetical aside, in Martinez we already are vigilantes. At least the Union thinks so.
the lights of the orphan district are reflected in his glasses. The red and golden orbs of the motorway sliding like pearls on a string. From east to the dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds.
They
Интересно, мы
really
так весь
don't
день
like us
ходили, да,
here.
вот с таким лицом?
And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different in land.
Ну,
In
по-моему,
general,
никто
in
на
the
это внимания не
GRIH.
обратил.
It's our
Не,
fault
не
for leaving
обращал.
this place to the dogs, to the union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. It's like I told you, this place is an orphan, fallen between the cracks. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land.
Мгм.
It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works, our systems work. Me too. But I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes. Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
Так, ну-ка, подожди. Мне уже давно надо покурить, да? Ладно, давай. Придется. Такс. Такс. Оп, ну давай.
There it is, a brave little army in your pocket. The first Smokes platoon. 20 brave souls standing in salute, ready to step into. Already you regret it, looking at the pack. But don't worry. You can come back to the.
You've passed up your chance to start smoking cigarettes for now.
Ага. Упустил свою возможность курить сигареты. Понятно. А квест не исчез, да, от этого? Ну, блин, надо тогда уж его выполнить, да? Или где он? Или он исчез? Он исчез, видимо. Так. Ну, отмена. Зачем мне это?
Yes?
Так, логику я прокачал.
Look at you.
Ура,
It's
победа.
because you're a failure. They sent you to Slight, Precinct 57. Just think about it for a second. You're a
Я
raging
так-то жесткий.
alcoholic
Ну, разве
who
что
showed up 3
алкашом
days
стал, ну
late,
ладно.
wearing piss-stained disco
Видимо,
garb.
из-за жены.
You weren't
Может, еще
sent
дети
here
ушли, там
to
рисунки
win.
какие-то были.
I've considered it. I don't think I can say one way or another. I checked the records. This jurisdiction dispute, who polices Martinez, reaches back to the 30s. It's as old as my station. And all this time we can't decide who gets Martinez? I think, yes, both stations would prefer a win. Safe? No. But you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did, they are in for a surprise.
Ура. Так, ну все, собирались идти спать, а идем все дальше гулять, вот и все. Ладно, ладно, идем. Аривидерчи. Дверь-то закрой. Пока. А я могу выйти. Я могу уйти просто. Один. Ну, кстати, чтобы обувь снять с трупа, вот
The
можно
bed is
ночью выйти.
cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours.
Давайте отоспимся.
The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and then sleep doesn't come. Maybe it's the bed's fault. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here. It barely covers your toes.
Oi.
Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and in.
В мир снов какой-то попали. Так, ну да, в туман нельзя, понятно. Классно.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? What it says on the can, Harry? Answer the question.
В больнице, скорее всего, родился, где еще.
You're not kidding anyone, Harry. Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs? Between her legs, you know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to
Видимо, его
her.
бросили.
That's right, funky baby. And you just stood there. One hand on the bottle and the other on you. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry Potter. No, it's gone. 3 times gone and you failed Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the useless. On the sun. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion. You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours. Bumping into things and acting like a clown. You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with you. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes time to go to work in the shit factory.
Понятно. Стоп, где-то еще нужна грубая сила.
Good going, buddy. Yes. Wait till you see the one with the chick in it. It's gonna be a good one. You feel even worse. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is. It's just that your heart has finally pumped. Oh, you're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It gets you propped up all day. It's power, man. It's professionalism. It makes... Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week. Let's be honest. Suit yourself. Slow.
Так, могу, ну-ка, еще раз снова
The
поговорим.
window stands broken and it's... The morning light hurts your eyes. It's hate. The bed is still cold from the break. The fan is spinning.
Из вентилятора я не хочу тянуть, все так же. Так, это. Вот это так и не откроется, да?
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression.
Болторез, так, а тут просто 3%.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall.
Ну-ка.
The forceps is quite
Получилось,
terribly
охереть.
mangled, but you handle the chain cutters deftly, applying just enough pressure. Told you that you needed those chain cutters. The mirror begins to clear slowly without you having to wipe it.
Можно мне вот так? Да, содержит 21 бутылку, целую уже, охереть. Плохо так, так, может это
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's
28
barely covered in
плюс
steam
2
anymore.
нет пара еще.
It's your face. It's too
Не
late.
везет, да.
Like an image on film. The
Ну-ка, давайте еще попытку. Если не получится, то ладно.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's too
Ну да.
late. Like an image on film. The expression belongs to your primary.
Я ж перчатки наделайте, да? Но... Еще штаны поднимают эту электрохимию. Можно, конечно, ходить без штанов, но думаю, это не очень, да? Хотя... Давайте без штанов походим, почему бы и нет? Надеюсь, все ок будет. Из-за того, что я без штанов хожу, никто внимания обращать не будет. Так, посмотрим, что на балконе. Садовница ушла. Ну, или не пришла еще. Не? Его нет? Или он внизу где-то?
The door is closed. Still, you should punch a fucking hole in it.
Ну-ка.
That felt good. Everyone is a whore. You slam your fist into the vinyl. It does not produce a hole. Not to mention...
Херня какая-то. Ну ладно. Видимо, она больше не выйдет оттуда, да? Где я? Куда я попал? Ту-ду-ду, и я без штанов тут стою. Доброе утро. Салам.
Morning. Looks like we can get to work at once. The union muscle turned up. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. Everything points to the dock workers union. The belt used for hanging him. Tracks, which may, of course, all be wrong. But we still need to talk to them. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the union. Men who drink beer for breakfast? There's talk of an armed wing of the union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the look. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the In fact, even the death of two detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep...
He's not exaggerating about that mortal danger. Just calmly factoring it in. Your fists clench and your pulse.
One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them.
But aren't you curious to know?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway...
Ну, я с ними думаю сейчас поговорить так-то. А где? Ну ладно. Опять же, деньги Гарту платить. Интересно, где он спит, если у него не будет дома? Ту-ду-ду-ду-ду. Блин, у меня авторитета все еще нет. Того, что белый траур. Или время засчитывает только, которое я бегаю, да? А вот на это жаль, конечно, да.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? Then why are you wasting my...
Да, понял.
Just a moment. And there's no pub.
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the...
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone to let the young woman who's house sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend, I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel. That's just it. This isn't like him.
A cold breeze hisses through dense thickets of reeds. Something sweet in it, somnolent.
You have more important things to worry about. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A crypto.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythology.
That's one opinion, yes.
My apologies, ma'am. I didn't.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless. And frankly, many scientists...
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline. But she's completely internalized her husband's struggles. They are her own.
Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few...
The water lock, that was broken. Could this be it?
Oh, sweetie, Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's... Oh my, what happened to the water lock? Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other...
Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired. And it's... Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes...
It's always a challenge to describe the person you know best in the world.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less. By a dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from... We hit it off and...
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll...
I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. But I shouldn't bore you with that.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically.
Ah, yes. Phasmatodia. A diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves.
Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. Hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the...
There's a touch of awe in the way she
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up...
It's not made up, officer. It's simply elusive. So much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all. Well, some teenagers making out in the reed saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid. Not at all. Why else would it? Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for... Yes. It can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden. Oh dear. I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear...
Так, ну-ка, подожди. Женщина.
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again.
You're an enthusiastic idiot, but you're still an idiot.
We don't have time for Cryptozoology 101.
Ну-ка, давай, мне надо знать. Не знаю зачем, но мне надо это знать.
Oh, hello, dear. There you are.
You're an enthusiastic
idiot. Я хочу. Прям хочу очень сильно.
Oh, hello, dear.
Давай.
You're an
ты чё, Еще попытка. Ну-ка, или у меня, может, предмет, снижающий внушение есть. Да. Кто это? Вот это. Свали мне.
Oh, hello, dear. There you are
58
again.
стало.
You're an
Да
inferior.
ну, не везет никак. Я хочу.
Oh, hello, dear.
Давай.
There you.
There's really
Wow.
no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, I could really use the company too.
One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza.
He nods. And the cryptids. Let's hear about all. Ooh, tough choice there.
Самый большой, самый маленький, самый опасный. А я не помню, что на ручке.
The gnome of Jeroma. Oh, it is. None of his victims survived. Or even it was reportedly a small creature with a couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wail. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in instead. All the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving.
Alas, always alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly?
I understand your
всё-таки
skepticism,
можно
but
ещё спросить.
that's what happens with things that are rare and stand out. Their disappearance is most memorable, and they are.
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid.
He nods approvingly.
Ладно. Ну-ка.
Oh, hello, dear.
You know, to hell with it.
Of course, officers.
Ладно.
Is there a particular cryptid?
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid.
The lieutenant paused.
Ah, fuck it. Let's have.
Well, the cryptid on your pen is the kind green ape. Half war story, half undiscovered species in the gayness. Yes, it was reported by soldiers in South Safra during the war. The kind green ape would visit bunkers during the night. Indeed, there is. It's our closest relative among the crypt, which is to say the kind green ape is a species with which we share a common ancestor and that evolved parallel to our own, just like your partners.
Ma'am, you are confusing me.
Please don't misunderstand me, either of you. Human, though zeolites do have some distinguishing characteristics.
Yes, advantages such as the flakier texture of zeolite earwax, or so I've heard. Nothing inspires pride in one species quite like speculative evolutionary biology.
What an interesting.
Of course, all fairy tales have someone or something invisible in them. Okay, I won't spoil your fun.
It's the Col de Mamadakwa. Its name means thin whisper of sound, and that's
Kolda Mamadakwa can also be translated as a whisper light and low.
Yes, that's another translate, although the low part is a little ironic. The Col de Mamadakwa makes, or rather is, such a high.
Fine, I'll bite. How can an animate?
Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself a sound, but a tiny corpuscle that emits sound. That is a sad story. A group of university students assisting with the field work in there, they tried to communicate with it and had no other means but sound. So they started sending out sound waves at frequent. Psst.
They cancel each other. You have no clue because you're not a dweeb.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they happened upon the.
Great regret washes over her.
After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings of an
Of course. A common thread in these. Disappearance and unfalsified.
I'm glad you did, dear. It could be. As I said, it could be everywhere.
Maybe it's predatory.
It's not. Don't worry. If it were predatory,
I wouldn't be so sure. What if the damage is also invisible?
plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. In the 20s, a group of Areopagite ornithologists, that is, scientists who, when playing back recordings they had made in the foothills of the Ea mountain range, they noticed certain anomalies, patterns that seemed. The scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be feeding, mating, and migration. They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the col de Mamadaqua, after the Paracanassian name for. They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Even though they couldn't
Зачем-то
see them,
варианты ответа
they could
дают.
distinguish among individual birds. Sequester, Time, Joscan. Those are but some of the Mamadaqua. What about what? That would be the giant of Kokonur. The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Kokonur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across a mirage or a psychogenous luminance. No one knows for sure. It is like an awful. The towering luminosity of
И что же его
Kokonur
не
is
видят?
a bad
Просто он
omen
стоит
in local
высокий.
folklore. Some say
Hui. No animal can be.
that's what makes it so peculiar. A species surviving at the very. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Kokonur. Cryobacter catlensis. Yes, a unicellular bacterium that was discovered in one of the northernmost points of Kotla. The bacterial colony Mijanu found had remained alive while frozen in ice. Mijanu disappeared shortly after injecting
А зачем
herself
она
with the
вколола?
bacteria she had brought back to
А.
study. No
Зачем?
doubt in. Yes, the bacteria had survived.
It's actually a little hard to see. But do go on.
Well, yes, everything has a price, sweetie. After Mijanu treated herself with the bacteria, she stopped aging, but also became. We can assume that she has been living
Всё-таки
somewhere in
жила
the
где-то.
wilderness for decades now, all alone except for the cryobacter.
косток.
Yes, the bacteria. Mijanu disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study. Everything has a price. After Mijanu treated herself, we can assume that she has been
Понятно.
living somewhere. And I'm glad you like them, but I'm not really one to tell you about all of them. You should ask my husband if you get the chance.
Все.
As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making you squint. From a distant sunset, a stage light, flash photography, nowhere in particular. It's just what superstar law officers do. They squint at lights, and they sob. Yeah, you have. You're a big dick cop, Dick Mullen. Salam Rocky Bayi, badass on the edge disco cop. Time to recede into a ludicrous fantasy world. Yeah, you know, beneath it is just heartbreak, a pulmonary tract infection, atherosclerotic disease. This is where you say action and reconceptualize.
Не надо. Что-то не хочется. Вторник. У меня с понедельника так много миссий.
Oh,
А мне еще на вторник задали. Ох. Может, снова к двери подойдем? Что тут?
The man ponders his cooking utensils and he looks up at you. Then, look, shrugging is an international sign for, no, I don't know what's behind.
Понятно.
You see a heavy steel.
Давайте мы пока что на этом остановимся. Абсолютно голый почти, да? Давайте сорочку-то обратно наденем, наверное. Майку. Что же, всем пока.